Emily Carter scrolled through her phone late at night, the glow of the screen illuminating her anxious but hopeful face. She paused at Daniel's profile, handsome with warm hazel eyes and a gentle smile that seemed to understand her faith in ways no one else had. Could this be the man she had prayed for? Could someone truly connect so deeply through just messages? And why did a part of her heart whisper caution while the rest leapt toward possibility? Their chats had been perfect, but real life could hide cracks that online smiles never reveal. Tonight, Emily sent the final message that would change everything. "Can we meet in Jerusalem?" The morning sun streamed into Emily's apartment as she packed her suitcase, heart pounding with a mix of excitement and anxiety. She had never traveled alone, especially not halfway across the world, but Daniel's messages had made Jerusalem feel close enough to touch. Her mind raced. What if she was making a mistake? What if Daniel wasn't the man she thought? Even her best friend, Rachel's warnings echoed in her head. But hope and faith nudged her forward. Maybe, just maybe, this was destiny. At the airport, Emily felt her nerves twist with every passing gate. She clutched her boarding pass and phone, scrolling through her chat with Daniel one last time. His words promised excitement, shared adventures, and deep spiritual connection. She told herself to trust, but each announcement over the loudspeakers reminded her how far she was going, how little she truly knew about him. Could someone she met online really be who they claimed? And would faith be enough to guide her safely through this journey? Hours later, Emily arrived in Jerusalem, stepping into a city alive with sun, history, and unfamiliar sounds. The street smelled of spices and coffee, and every stone seemed to hum with centuries of stories. Her heart thumped as she scanned the crowd for Daniel. He had promised to meet her at the hotel entrance. Her hand tightened around her phone. Was she ready for the reality of a man who had existed only in messages and pictures? And when he appeared, would he match the image she had built in her mind? Or Carl, Kaisi, King Ralph. And then he was there. Daniel, dark hair, hazel eyes, wearing a casual blazer and carrying a small bag, smiled as he waved. Relief washed over Emily, but so did a flicker of unease. Something in his expression seemed off, a hesitation behind the warmth. He hugged her tightly, yet she felt the first pangs of doubt. Could her heart truly trust a stranger in a foreign city? And how far would someone go to hide who they really were, even from someone who believed in them completely? Emily followed Daniel through the winding streets of Jerusalem, her senses overloaded by new sights, sounds, and smells. Every corner seemed alive with history, yet her mind kept returning to Daniel's subtle inconsistencies. Stories that didn't fully match, glances that lingered too long on certain streets. She pushed the unease aside, telling herself it was the excitement of travel. But a question lingered. Could she trust him to be who he claimed? Or was she stepping into a carefully constructed illusion? They stopped at a small cafe tucked between old stone buildings. Daniel ordered effortlessly in the local language, impressing Emily, but also adding another layer to her confusion. He was charming, capable yet elusive. She sipped her tea, scanning his face for clues. Was this man really the devout Christian she had spoken to online? Or a stranger masking a hidden agenda? Emily couldn't shake the feeling that beneath his smile, something didn't quite fit. As they walked toward the city's ancient walls, Daniel talked about his childhood travels and spiritual journey. Emily felt her heart lift, imagining a future with someone so like-minded. Yet, each story had gaps, and certain details repeated differently from his messages. How could someone lie so convincingly? Could faith alone protect her from being misled? Or was she already entangled in a dangerous deception? They entered a local market, colorful fabrics and aromatic spices surrounding them. Emily's senses were alive, but she noticed Daniel scanning the crowd more than interacting with vendors. Something about his attentiveness made her uneasy. Was he watching her, the market, or someone else? Questions swirled. Was this a simple quirk, or a warning sign she couldn't yet decode? Each step into Jerusalem brought beauty, but also creeping uncertainty. By evening, Emily and Daniel reached a quiet hill overlooking the city's skyline. The golden sunset bathed Jerusalem in a surreal glow. Daniel's hand brushed hers, and for a moment, she felt the magic of possibility. But deep down, Emily sensed an invisible barrier, a shadow in Daniel's presence she couldn't yet name. She wondered, was she drawn to him, or merely the idea of the man she had imagined online? And would this beautiful city become the backdrop for her greatest mistake? Emily had settled into the hotel, but sleep eluded her. Daniel seemed charming and attentive, yet small moments gnawed at her sense of security. He avoided eye contact at certain questions and shifted topics when she probed too much. She wondered how someone so seemingly perfect could harbor such inconsistencies. Was her intuition overreacting, or was it finally noticing what her heart had been sensing all along? They explored the old city together, Emily trailing slightly behind Daniel. She watched his gestures, the way he interacted with locals. Something about the fluidity of his movements felt rehearsed, calculated. Was this the man she had come to know online, or a stranger wearing a mask? Her stomach tightened with a growing realization that her expectations might not align with reality, and that this city, vibrant and sacred, could suddenly feel threatening. As evening fell, Emily noticed Daniel checking his phone more than usual. His smile seemed forced, and there was a flicker of impatience she hadn't seen before. Emily felt a chill run down her spine. Questions she had ignored began to surface. Why was he so guarded? Why did he avoid introducing her to other travelers or locals? The city's shadows grew long, and with them, her doubts. Could the man she had trusted online be someone entirely different? Later that night, Emily returned to the hotel alone to retrieve something from her room. Daniel had gone to the nearby market, leaving her with time to reflect. She replayed their conversations in her mind, recalling tiny contradictions and evasions. The vibrant city outside her window now seemed darker, mysterious. She felt exposed and questioned. Could someone who seemed so devoted actually hide dangerous secrets? As she tried to sleep, Emily's mind raced. Every smile from Daniel, every word exchanged, suddenly felt like a puzzle piece she hadn't been able to fit. The man who had seemed so sincere online now cast a shadow over her heart. Could love be this deceptive? And in a city far from home, could she trust her instincts before it was too late? Emily awoke to find Daniel, already dressed and moving around their hotel room. She noticed his gaze lingered on her with a precision that felt calculated rather than affectionate. His words, once warm and comforting, now carried subtle critiques disguised as concern. She wondered how someone who had seemed so kind could now make her question herself, her judgment, even her fate. Was this the man she had trusted, or a carefully crafted facade designed to control her? Later, they visited a historical site, and Emily noticed Daniel avoiding cameras and other tourists' gaze. She felt a prickling sense that something was off. Questions she had ignored became urgent. Why the secrecy? Why did he seem to act differently in public than in private messages? Every smile and gesture now carried suspicion, and Emily realized she might be seeing the first glimpse of the man he truly was. Back at their hotel, Daniel insisted on going through Emily's phone to make sure nothing is wrong. She felt a wave of panic as her privacy was invaded. The charming man she met online now felt controlling, calculating, and unpredictable. Could the person she had trusted online actually pose a danger in real life? Fear and doubt swirled in her mind as she realized the trip she had dreamt about might turn into a trap. Emily's heart raced as Daniel grew more agitated over small things. How she interacted with locals, the way she took photos, even minor delays in leaving the room She felt trapped by the combination of charm and control, realizing the man she had imagined online was gone. Each polite smile he once offered was now laced with expectation, manipulation, and subtle threat. Could she confront him safely, or was it already too late to turn back? That night, alone in her hotel room while Daniel stepped out briefly, Emily examined his belongings. Hidden receipts, mismatched IDs, and strange notes suggested a double life she could no longer ignore. Her heart pounded. The man who had seemed perfect online was not who he claimed. Could she escape before it was too late? And who could she trust in a city so foreign, so full of secrets? Emily confronted Daniel in the hotel room. Her voice trembled but carried the weight of fear and resolve. "Who are you really?" she demanded. Daniel's calm smile faltered for the first time. The man she had thought she knew, the charming, devoted Christian, was slipping, revealing a stranger with secrets he had tried to bury. Every carefully constructed lie began to unravel, and Emily realized she might be in the fight of her life. Daniel's facade cracked. He waved dismissively at Emily and laughed in a way that sent chills down her spine. The stories he had told, the faith he had displayed online, it was all false. Emily's chest tightened as the truth settled in. The man who had brought her to Jerusalem was a stranger, a master manipulator. Could she escape before his charm turned into something more dangerous? Emily refused to back down. She demanded to see identification and evidence of Daniel's past. As he reluctantly revealed documents, inconsistencies leapt out. Names, addresses, even his faith were fabricated. Panic mixed with anger surged through her. How had she been so blind? How could someone be so convincing, yet so deceptive? And most importantly, could she navigate this maze of lies without losing herself? Tension escalated as Daniel became aggressive, trying to intimidate Emily. She took a step back, her mind racing. The man who had seemed devoted online was now controlling and volatile in person. But fear didn't paralyze her. Clarity did. Emily realized that to survive, she needed help and an escape plan. The question was, could she act quickly enough before Daniel's charm turned dangerous in action? Emily grabbed her phone and called for help, hands shaking but determined. Within minutes, local authorities and a trusted contact arrived. Daniel realized his control was slipping, his expression a mix of anger and disbelief. Emily's heart raced, but relief washed over her as she stepped outside into the Jerusalem night, finally feeling the possibility of safety. She had confronted the truth and survived. Emily followed Officer Eli and Miriam through Jerusalem's narrow streets, adrenaline pounding in her chest. Every turn felt tense, every passerby a potential threat. The man she had trusted online, Daniel, could be anywhere. Her mind raced as she realized the stakes. She wasn't just uncovering lies. She was evading a danger she had unknowingly invited. Could she truly escape unscathed in a city that was both beautiful and foreign? They ducked into a quiet cafe, Emily's heart still racing. Miriam whispered details she had uncovered. Daniel's true name was Isaac Levin, a man with a history of deceit, multiple identities, and manipulations targeting vulnerable women online. Emily's stomach turned. She'd been caught in a carefully woven web of lies. Could she have imagined it all? Or was the danger only just beginning to reveal itself? With the authorities alerted, Emily and her guides moved quickly to secure her safety. Every step through the city was a mix of fear and determination. Daniel, Isaac, was being tracked, but the realization of how close he had been gnawed at her. Could someone so charming online really hide such darkness? And how had she ignored the subtle signs until they escalated into real danger? Later, Emily sat safely in a secure location, reflecting on the terrifying revelations. Documents and messages from Daniel Isaac spread before her. She read about other women, other lies, and realized the danger she had narrowly escaped. Each piece of evidence was a stark reminder. Online personas can be illusions, and trust without verification can be fatal. How could someone so convincing hide a life so manipulative? By dawn, Emily stepped outside, breathing the crisp Jerusalem morning air. Finally free, Daniel, Isaac, had been located and confronted by authorities, his mask fully stripped away. Relief surged through her, but so did reflection. She had survived deception, manipulation, and danger far from home. Emily realized that while trust is precious, vigilance is vital, and sometimes the greatest courage is facing the truth, no matter how painful it may be. Emily arrived back in her hometown, the plane landing quietly as if nothing had happened. But inside, her heart was still racing. The ordeal with Daniel, Isaac, lingered in her mind like a shadow she couldn't shake. As she stepped into familiar streets, she felt the comfort of home, but also the weight of what she had endured. Could she ever trust so freely again? Or had she learned that caution is sometimes the truest form of love? For herself, back home, Emily reflected on the deception she had faced. She told her closest friends, recounting the intricacies of Daniel's lies. The fear, manipulation, and near escape weighed heavily. Yet sharing her story brought a measure of healing. She realized that while trust had been exploited, her courage and instincts had kept her alive. How often do we overlook warning signs in search of love? And at what cost? Emily began documenting her experience, writing online articles and sharing her story to warn others about the hidden dangers of online dating. Each word was a small act of courage, a way to transform trauma into guidance. She knew her story could prevent someone else from falling into the trap she had narrowly escaped. Could one person's courage truly change another's fate? Months later, Emily walked through her neighborhood, feeling a new sense of vigilance and empowerment. She had survived deceit, confronted fear, and reclaimed her autonomy. The experience had changed her, not by breaking her, but by sharpening her instincts. How could she ever forget Daniel, Isaac, but also, how could she use this experience to protect herself and others moving forward? In the end, Emily's story became a cautionary tale, reminding viewers that online personas can mask dangerous truths. She had faced manipulation, deception, and fear, but emerged alive, wiser, and empowered. Her faith and instincts had guided her through darkness. The question lingered for anyone listening. Can you recognize the truth behind the perfect smile before it's too late? And are you brave enough to trust your instincts when everything else seems perfect?